Breaking news: California is going under this Christmas. Scientists are hitting the panic button because what we are seeing is way beyond extreme weather. It is a geological horror show that could rewrite the West Coast map forever. Picture families stranded on rooftops, their holiday morning turning into a desperate battle for life. Whole neighborhoods are being wiped out by walls of water that hit in a flash. And first responders are totally overrun by floods shattering every record in the books. This is not just another winter storm. This is nature going nuclear during the holidays. But here's the kicker that has experts terrified: the rain isn't the only threat. Sensors are picking up weird tremors under the flood zones. That massive water weight, it is destabilizing California's fragile fault lines. This lethal mix of mega floods and seismic pressure is creating a nightmare scenario we have never seen before. It gets worse. Satellite data shows floodwater piling up right over major faults, adding billions of tons of pressure to a system ready to snap. These Christmas floods aren't just wrecking houses, they might be the fuse for the big one. Is the Golden State sinking? Or is this the trigger for that mega quake experts have been dreading for decades? December 23rd, 3:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The National Weather Service in Sacramento sounds the alarm: life-threatening floods. Atmospheric river number 1 hits near Eureka. In minutes, rain spikes to 4 inches an hour in Humboldt County. Ops centers from San Fran to Los Angeles go live simultaneously. Historic stuff. By 5:15 a.m., the state's Office of Emergency Services goes to full crisis mode. Director Mark Chen is juggling 58 counties as reports pour in. The Russian River surges 8 feet in just 2 hours. Sonoma County orders 12,000 people to get out now. The numbers are terrifying and climbing fast. At 6:23 a.m., atmospheric river number 2 smashes the Central Coast with insane intensity. Monterey Bay sees 85-mile-per-hour winds and 6 inches of rain an hour. The Salinas River turns into a monster, crushing century-old levees instantly. Highway 101 near San Luis Obispo gone under the surge. The Highway Patrol confirms 8 feet of water sitting on the roadway. Rescuers are scrambling to pull drivers out of cars that are already underwater. Storm number 3 is coming from the southwest, aiming at SoCal with moisture levels totally off the charts. NOAA meteorologist Dr. Lisa Rodriguez calls it 3 fire hoses blasted straight at the state. Shelters are packed to the gills in hours. The Red Cross opens 47 sites, but they are swamped immediately. Families show up with just the clothes on their backs, kids screaming, seniors needing urgent medical help. The grid is failing, lines are snapping everywhere. PG&E says 340,000 folks are in the dark by 8 a.m., and that count is skyrocketing. The National Guard sends in 2,400 troops for water rescues. Choppers are flying non-stop, snatching people off roofs because the water is rising faster than boats can handle. The roads are crumbling. Interstate 5 is shut down tight between Sacramento and Los Angeles. SFO cancels over 400 flights. Runways are lakes. First responders have never seen anything like this. As the sun comes up, the scale of this nightmare becomes clear. At Emergency HQ in Sacramento, the floor is a war room by 9 a.m. Phones are ringing off the hook. Screens are lighting up red. Staff are pulling 12-hour shifts as this thing spirals out of control. Director Chen is racing around, coordinating with FEMA as evacuation zones just keep growing. It is life or death now. 10:15 a.m. Governor Newsom declares a statewide emergency as that third storm hits Los Angeles. Guard troops bump up to 4,800. It is the biggest disaster response California has ever seen. Pilots are fighting 90-mile-per-hour winds and zero visibility. Then, the tragic news at 11:23 a.m. A 67-year-old man in Petaluma is gone, swept away trying to move his car. The body count starts rising fast. Resources are tapped out. Sonoma shelters are at 150% capacity. They are opening high school gyms now. Families are sleeping on cots in hallways. Kids are crying. And 6 seniors aren't getting the help they need. Getting people out is turning into a logistical horror show. Marin County orders 23,000 out, but the escape routes are flooded. It is gridlock as panicked families try to run. Comms are going down. Verizon lost towers across 12 counties. Radio channels are jammed as crews try to coordinate in impossible conditions. The power grid in the north is collapsing. PG&E is reporting 680,000 blackouts by noon. Crews can't fix anything, too much water. Hospitals are on backup power, but fuel is running low. Agriculture is taking a massive hit. The Central Valley is drowning. In less than 18 hours, raging floodwaters have annihilated $1.2 billion worth of crops. It is a total wipeout for the dairy industry. They are scrambling to evacuate 45,000 head of cattle, but countless farms have already lost the battle. Interstate 5, shut down cold from Redding to Los Angeles, slicing the state right in half. Total paralysis at the airports. Oakland and San Francisco have grounded over 800 flights because the runways are literally underwater. First responders call it a war zone, admitting they are completely out of their depth. As afternoon hits, the sheer scale of this catastrophe is impossible to ignore. Over at the NOAA Center in Maryland, meteorologists are staring at their screens in disbelief. The satellite data is coming in so hot it defies every model in their database. Lead scientist Dr. Sarah Chen is looking at moisture readings that shatter every record in the history books. Picture this: 3 massive atmospheric rivers colliding over California, dumping a volume of water equal to 15 Mississippi rivers right out of the sky. The numbers are straight out of a horror movie. The first storm system is blasting 1,200 kilograms of water vapor per meter every single second. For context, a monster winter storm usually tops out at 500. This thing is double that. And the second system, it is hitting 1,400. But the third one, hammering Southern California right now, is peaking at 1,600, a number scientists said was physically impossible in today's climate. At Scripps in San Diego, Dr. Michael Torres is watching the storm structure and ringing the alarm bells. These storms are breaking the laws of physics. They aren't dying out after hitting land like they should. They are staying strong, actually feeding off each other in ways we can't even explain. And the temperature readings, that is another massive red flag. This isn't normal rain. This is tropical juice pulled straight from the equator, slamming into the coast without cooling down a single degree over thousands of miles. The ocean out there is a hot tub. Surface temperatures are running 4 to 6 degrees Celsius hotter than normal. NOAA diverted their hurricane hunters from the Atlantic to fly right into the belly of the beast for a closer look. Flight meteorologist Captain Lisa Rodriguez says she has never seen a ride like this in 15 years. Her report: the moisture sensors are literally maxing out. From space, it looks like the whole planet is broken. The jet stream has buckled into a freakish shape that is fire hosing Pacific water directly at us. Experts call it a locked pattern. This isn't a quick hit, it could hammer us for weeks. Research centers worldwide are in full-blown panic mode. Even the European Center, the gold standard for forecasting, admits their supercomputers completely missed how violent this system would get. We were not supposed to see conditions this extreme until the year 2040. The future has arrived decades early. It is all hands on deck at climate labs around the globe. Video calls are running non-stop as scientists try to wrap their heads around data that defies basic atmospheric logic. Dr. Kevin Trenberth at NCR is right in the middle of a massive shoutdown among top experts. The big question is this: the climate collapse we feared, arriving way ahead of schedule. The fight in the scientific community is getting ugly. Dr. Jennifer Francis argues this convergence proves we have already smashed through the tipping points. Her take: the Arctic ice is gone, the jet stream is weak, and now tropical chaos is invading the north like never before. We are watching the atmosphere rewrite its own rulebook live on air, she told the emergency panel. But not everyone is ready to declare the end of the world just yet. Columbia University's Dr. Richard Seeger says, hold your horses. He thinks this might just be the Pacific Ocean acting up naturally. You mix El Nino with some specific ocean cycles, and you can get crazy storms without blaming climate change for everything. But the hard data suggests otherwise. The Pacific is boiling. We have record-breaking heat stretching from Hawaii all the way to the coast. Water temps are 4 to 6 degrees Celsius above the 20th century average. That is loading the dice, pumping more moisture into the air than we have seen in prehistoric records. Penn State's Dr. Michael Mann is connecting the dots on a global scale. He says this California disaster is just one piece of a broken northern hemisphere. Europe is drowning in winter floods. The Arctic is 20 degrees hotter than normal. The warning lights are flashing everywhere. The UK Met Office confirms it. Their best simulations failed. They did not see this monster coming. Computers said this was 20 years away. They were wrong. And one terrifying fact is becoming clear. The climate is unraveling faster than anyone predicted. Just ask Maria Santos. She is gripping her 8-year-old's hand, wading through knee-deep sludge to catch a bus in Guerneville. Behind them, the house they lived in for 15 years, gone. Swallowed by the Russian River. They have nothing left but a single backpack, some photos, medicine, and a stuffed elephant little Sophia hasn't let go of since the siren screamed at 4 a.m. The Santa Rosa High School gym is already bursting at the seams. Families are sleeping on cots. Kids are crying. The elderly are in bad shape, and volunteers are overwhelmed. The Red Cross has opened 47 shelters, but with 85,000 people homeless, it is a drop in the bucket. In Petaluma, 73-year-old Robert Chen is digging in. Mandatory evacuation orders. He is ignoring them. He has got 200 Holsteins standing belly deep in freezing water. He is fighting to get them to high ground. He told rescuers, "This is my life. I am not leaving." His neighbor, dairy farmer Susan Martinez, wasn't so lucky. The water rose too fast. She lost 150 cows in the blink of an eye. Kids are waking up to the deafening chop of helicopters and the never-ending wail of sirens. Take 8-year-old Tommy Rodriguez. He hasn't caught a wink of sleep since his family barely escaped their house in Sebastopol. His mom, Lisa, a nurse practitioner on the front lines, says it is a nightmare scenario. Shelves are completely bare of anti-anxiety meds for kids at 3 separate emergency sites. Farming towns are looking at an absolute apocalypse, with financial shockwaves guaranteed to hammer the California economy for years to come. The Sonoma County Farm Bureau is putting the hit on wine grapes alone at a staggering $800 million. Multi-generational family farms are staring down the barrel of total bankruptcy as raging waters wipe out gear, cattle, and whole seasons of hard labor. Crisis centers are buckling under pressure, barely scraping by with the absolute basics. Drinkable water is running dangerously low as treatment plants go offline, and medical stockpiles are vanishing because rigs can't plow through the submerged highways. Locals are banding together in the middle of this madness, but the sheer number of homeless families is crushing even the biggest relief efforts. For thousands of families across the Golden State, Christmas 2024 isn't about opening presents. It is forever marked as the terrifying night the waters took it all. Up in Sacramento, Governor Gavin Newsom is huddled in an urgent war room meeting as report after devastating report floods in from every corner of the state. The early stats are mind-blowing. We are talking over $15 billion in smashed infrastructure and rising, plus another $3.2 billion in farming losses. Economists are warning this financial crater could be deeper than Hurricane Katrina. FEMA boss Deanne Criswell touched down in Sacramento less than 24 hours after the governor begged the feds for help. This is the agency's biggest mobilization since Superstorm Sandy, with an army of 8,000 agents scrambling to manage the chaos across 23 counties. Supply lines snapped almost instantly once the true magnitude of this disaster came into focus. Tempers are flaring on Capitol Hill over the cash. House Republicans are grilling the $50 billion bailout, claiming California's own green policies helped trigger this mess. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are screaming for an instant green light, warning that stalling now means people die. Big insurance suits are in panic mode, holding crisis talks as flood claims smashed past $25 billion in just the first 7 days. Giants like State Farm and Allstate admit claims have already blown through their entire yearly reserves, while homeowners are finding out the hard way their policies don't cover floods, leaving them totally broke. The financial fallout is bleeding way past state lines. The Port of Oakland, which moves 40% of all West Coast cargo, is shut down tight because of the water. Stores across the country are facing empty shelves as massive piles of holiday stock sit rotting in waterlogged warehouses. Tourism bosses are tallying up a bloodbath of losses as holiday reservations vanish into thin air. Napa wineries are reporting a $2 billion hit to their vines and tasting rooms. And for the first time in history, natural disaster has forced Disneyland to slam its gates on 75,000 daily guests. The Department of Finance is predicting a budget hole bigger than $8 billion as tax money dries up and emergency spending skyrockets. The heat is on lawmakers to fund climate defenses they once wrote off as too pricey, and the math is getting ugly. It is a stark choice: drop billions now to stop it, or bleed trillions cleaning up the mess over and over again. 7 days after that first atmospheric river hammered the coast, the state is still on high alert while the murky waters slowly creep back. The National Weather Service isn't letting up, keeping flood warnings live for 15 counties where rivers are still swollen and deadly, even though the rain has stopped. Cleanup crews are waking up to the brutal truth. Fixing this catastrophe is going to take months, not days. Monitors show the Russian River 8 feet over the danger line, the Salinas River 12 feet above normal, and the Sacramento River pushing levees to the breaking point. Engineers say one more drop could burst them. More than 125,000 people are still locked out of their homes while officials try to figure out if it is safe to go back. FEMA has boots on the ground, 12,000 of them, marking the biggest domestic rescue mission the agency has ever launched. Mobile response teams are running ops in 23 counties, leading daring rescues that have already plucked over 3,400 souls from the rising tide. Getting the lights back on is a nightmare. PG&E says 450,000 customers are still in the dark because crews literally can't reach the drowned power lines. The body count has climbed to 47 confirmed dead, with another 23 people still unaccounted for across the region. Most of these tragedies happen when drivers try to ford flooded streets, totally underestimating just how deep and powerful that water really is. Farm damage reports are painting a grim picture that is going to jack up grocery bills all over America. The Department of Food and Agriculture is confirming $4.8 billion in lost crops, with whole harvests in the Central Valley completely wiped out. Shelters are packed to the rafters with 78,000 refugees across 52 sites, pushing volunteers and supplies to the absolute limit. Officials are stressing that while the initial panic might be fading, the long road to recovery is going to test California's grit for years. History says California has seen bad floods before, but nothing matches the sheer ferocity and timing of what hit us this Christmas 2024. Back in 1862, the Great Flood put the Central Valley underwater for months and even forced the government to flee Sacramento for San Francisco. The floods of 1955 took 74 lives and cost billions, but that unfolded over weeks this time. Atmospheric rivers smashed the state in just a matter of days. Climate experts are still trying to wrap their heads around the freak storm patterns that brought the Golden State to its knees. 3 atmospheric rivers colliding at once is a weather nightmare that computer models said we shouldn't have seen until 2040 or later. This speed run of extreme weather is shattering everything we thought we knew about how fast the climate is changing and whether we can even keep up. Global research teams are now scrambling to figure out if the California floods. This signals a terrifying worldwide breakdown in how our atmosphere actually moves. We are seeing identical chaos ripping through the entire northern hemisphere. That broken jet stream smashing the west coast, it is just one piece of a total hemisphere-wide weather collapse. This goes way beyond the drowned valleys of California. Amidst the wreckage, the real power isn't the government, it is the grit of the survivors fighting back. You see strangers wading through water to save strangers, churches turning into sanctuaries for the homeless, and armies of volunteers stepping up where the system failed. It is raw human survival instinct in action, but heroism cannot fix a broken system that is crumbling under climate chaos. The nightmare of Christmas, 2024, is forcing a total rewrite of the American emergency playbook. Every other coastal state is scrambling to check their defenses right now because climate experts just dropped a bombshell. They are warning that these atmospheric river bombs could blast the entire Pacific Rim. Forget asking if disaster strikes next. The only questions left are when and how deadly will it be. It is going to take years to dig California out of the mud. But their battle against this historic deluge is now the survival blueprint for the rest of the nation. We are talking about next level alarm systems, faster evacuation routes, and locked and loaded community readiness teams that might just give us a fighting chance next time. But the scary part, we still have no idea why the climate is accelerating this fast. The freak conditions that triggered the California Christmas catastrophe are defying science. The climate is rewriting its own rules faster than we can read them. As survivors sweep away the mud and experts crunch the numbers, one terrifying truth is staring us in the face. The climate apocalypse is not some distant nightmare anymore. It is here. It is happening right now, and we need to react immediately. The waters might have pulled back, but the flood of terrified questions about our volatile planet is just getting started.